When BMW invented the X6, there was a whole contingent of people, myself included, who said, "What the hell is that? Why would they build a coupe-shaped SUV thing without any real practical purpose? How many were they hoping to sell, and to whom?" Well, just a few short years later, it turns out that contingent of people, myself included, were wrong. 260,000 times over. That's how many of the things they've sold to date, despite the fact that its creation was motivated by very little in the way of everyday motoring considerations. The original X6 was a car that I was really looking forward to disliking, but in the end had to concede that it was a phenomenal thing to drive. And now it's time for X6 version 2.0, recently launched in South Africa. The styling changes to the new X6 are, unlike the car itself, rather subtle. The thing you're most likely to notice are the new rear lights and, if you're a real nerd, the extra creases in the bodywork. But although the changes themselves are quite small, they've made this big car a little less belligerent. It's a little softer, a little sleeker, but not in a way that makes it any less retiring. It has a powerful presence, this car, and the ability to polarize opinion at the mere mention of its name. Personally, I'm not mad about the look of it, but I think that has more to do with my inability to match coupe styling ideas to something the size of a small truck. The engine lineup for the X6 includes 4 options, from a 3-litre petrol to the mighty triple-turbo M50D. There's also a 4.4-litre V8 turbo with 330 kilowatts and 650 newton meters. That's what we're driving. Now, BMW are very keen to point out that across the X6 range, average fuel consumption has been dropped by 20%. Although, if you're spending over R1 million on a car with the title of Sports Activity Coupe, chances are you're less interested in that fact than how it feels when you accelerate. And it feels pretty good. Well, that might be a slight understatement. The V8 motor matches a purposeful growl to very impressive acceleration, whether it's off the line or in gear. It's smooth and instant and pushes the big car along a lot quicker than you're at first likely to believe. They can say what they like about the reduced fuel consumption, but if any molecule in your body enjoys driving even slightly, you're going to find yourself being rather liberal with the application of the accelerator. There is an expectation when you see a 2.1-ton, 4.9-meter long car with all-wheel drive and a raised ride height that it can go off-road. And although BMW will tell you the approach and departure angles for this car, and even though it does have hill descent control as part of the package, let's be honest, the chances of you seeing an X6 on anything rougher than a normal dirt road are pretty much zero. Fortunately though, you don't have to spend too much time with this car to realize that keeping it on road is a very good thing. We covered a few hundred kilometers in our drive from Nelspruit to Hoedspruit and back, and it wasn't just the scenery that made it such an enjoyable trip. Driving the X6 on the open road through long ribbons of corners or stretches of straight tar, whether it's at pace or not, is an absolute pleasure. And that's not just because of an engine that is as capable as this one. BMW's xDrive all-wheel drive system is standard across the X6 range, and we've established that it won't be used for any kind of off-roading. But the good news is that on-road it is phenomenal. My overriding memory of the original X6 was just how good it was through the corners, even when driving at not a very leisurely pace. And this new version is exactly the same. It was given plenty of space on some very quiet roads to prove what it can do, and what it does from a handling point of view is impressive. It manages to keep itself in check with almost no noticeable effort or interference from the electronics. The thing is, for all its acceleration ability and its brilliant cornering, the X6 is fairly uninvolving. The steering is too light, and whatever feel is there is pretty artificial. The chassis tells you nothing, and although the whole package is very good from an engineering point of view, from a feel point of view, it is very remote. The fact is that being able to move this much weight at the kinds of speeds it does would probably not be likely if it weren't for 1,000 automated systems making millions of calibrations every second and taking some control out of the driver's hands in the process. Inside, the new X6 is pretty much the same as the old one, offering a very familiar layout, albeit with some new materials and technologies like BMW's connected drive services. Space in the back is still surprisingly small for such a big machine, but the boot benefits from the coupe shape to offer very good space. The new BMW X6 is a lot like the old BMW X6. It's now more in keeping with the corporate styling manual, but in terms of the way it feels, it still delivers real performance and more than a touch of luxury. And even though it's not the most involving car that has the word sport in its title, it still is a very impressive machine. Supercar-like power from the V8 turbo combines with very clever electronics and a smooth shifting 8-speed Steptronic gearbox to give the X6 impressive acceleration and grip in any situation. The new X6 looks a little sleeker, but it's just as impressive as ever when driving with intent, even though the electronics remove any sort of feel in the process.